What's up, everybody? This is Brad from the Rules of Villainy podcast, or as you may know me as the Mayor of Lorcana. I'm coming at you today with a piece of side content. Aside from the show proper, newest episode is out. It has a Villain of the Set poll in there. We hope you check that out and get your vote in for who you think was the most villainous card of the set, or at least the past 16 weeks. And want to go over some of the upcoming decks that people are theorizing on Dreamborn for the newest set coming out in less than a week. Archazia's Island is right around the corner, and if you're anything like me, you might not have any idea what you want to play. I certainly don't. I have a few little ideas with the new cards, but I don't know how necessarily they're going to fit in. I'm not the best deck builder in the world, but I do rely on some of the community to guide me through that journey of finding a fun deck, and that's what's so exciting about this game, having so many cards, so many options, and cool cards to play with. And so what I thought we would do today was go through some of the decks that are already uploaded, theoretically, improved decks from before, new decks that we haven't seen before with the new cards, and see something that interests us. I got 5 decks listed here today that I'm going to go through and see what you guys think. We'll kind of break them down a little bit. I want to see some comments below on what you guys think, what you want to play. If it's not on this list, please let me know below, and certainly look into those options as well. And let's get into it. Let me shrink myself down to a smaller version of me, like in Wonderland, and we will look at, to no surprise, a red Fossa deck. If anybody who watches the show knows, I'm a big fan of Mufasa, Betrayed Leader from Rise of the Floodborn. I won my first set championship with pretty much this exact deck, and what I mean by that is not a whole lot is changing with it. We are looking at Humble from Team Maelstrom's upcoming list, or what it is currently. I should preface that all 5 of these lists, they're not finalized. I'm sure people are just kind of speculating what they want to put in. They're going to test with it when the cards come out and probably make some changes. But from the get-go, the only set 7 card that Humble has added to this deck, in what he calls Lily Fossa, and has for many sets, is these card soldiers. It is a 1-drop inkable, 1 strength, 2 willpower, quest for 1, and he's replacing the Moana pirate. I forget her subtitle, unfortunately, but he's replacing her with this who has an ability that says take point while a damaged character is in play. This character gets +2 strength. What was great about Moana was she was a 3/2, but she couldn't challenge unless there was a captain on board, which this piglet came into play to do that. Most of the time when you were playing this deck, you just played that Moana on 1, and you were questing until they were tired of her doing that. Your opponent is what I mean, and they'll challenge into her, and a lot of times whatever challenges into her is going to go with it because of the 3 strength that she possessed. You as the player were hindered by the fact that she can't challenge if you can't find this pesky piglet, who is, from my experience, pretty elusive most of the time. Making a great improvement here with the card soldiers, because you have your Mulans and your Gothos who come in damage. Both can be played on 2, so that card soldier is pretty much going to challenge for 3 most of the time. So I think that's a really good improvement. It looks like he brought back Julieta as well, in case Rapunzel is hiding in the deck somewhere and you're not getting your draw off. So a little extra draw on 3 isn't bad. What you're looking for on 3, of course, is your Gaston, so you can start high rolling your bigger characters, as we all know this Mufasa deck loves to do. So I think it's a good improvement. I'm curious to try it out. I don't have this deck built currently, especially without set 7, because it's not out yet. But it is very much on my radar. I love playing it for the set championships. I had it built and got lucky in my very last one. So it's near and dear to my heart. Excited to check that one out. But I think it looks pretty good. Let's move on to the second one. And again, to no surprise, it's going to be another Mufasa deck from another pioneer of the Mufasa meta here in Disney Lorcana. We have Illumiqueer Lens with her Steel Fossa. That's built around 5 new cards, built around Mufasa, of course, but 5 new cards from Archazia's Island. We have the 1-drop Mulan, who swings for 2, and whenever you play her, you can draw and discard a card. We got the new Penny that whenever you play this character, Dual Link, the first Dual Link I think we're looking at today, where when you play this character, you can remove up to 2 damage from a chosen character and they gain resist +1. So even if you don't have the damage, I think I'm reading this correctly. I think that the player or the card still gets the resist, little extra help on 2 or whenever you play this card. So I think I like that addition as well. You got your standard 2 drops as well. Doc when you need cards. Calhoun and Smee I think aren't going anywhere in any steel decks for a while, because they're just so strong in that position, with Smee questing for 2, Calhoun threatening 2 lore whenever the opponent quests, right? So you want to challenge into that. With that resist, she's such a good card, and one of our candidates for villain of the set. So another plug if you want to vote for that. She's a good one. But in addition to Penny and Mulan, we have the new Gantu, All Hail, kind of a hero to the Rules of Villainy podcast here. Whenever you play this card, characters can't exert to sing songs until the start of your next turn, so it's going to be kind of a big hit to steal song, and as for any actions, song decks, mind you. But his second ability, each player pays 2 more ink to play actions or items, which only is a detriment to the opponent in this deck because, of course, in a Mufasa deck, you want to run all characters, which is what Lindsay's doing here. So kind of a good card. I think it's going to see some good testing. I hope that he sticks around because with the last 2 sets have provided us with Gantus that are extremely playable, and it's just great because he's been kind of a meme since set 1 with his legendary card. But looks pretty good. That's 3 of the 5 I mentioned. Bagheera is the big one here. 5 cost, Inkable, 4/3. Whenever, and he is a bodyguard. So whenever he is banished from play as well, he does a whole board wide grab your sword, basically. It's grab your sword on a body when banished. Quest for 2. Probably the best legendary of the set, if I had to guess. I don't have them all in front of me at the moment, but it makes me really excited for this deck, and which is why I was less excited for the Ruby Fasa that we just looked at, because I think if I play Mufasa at the beginning of the set, it's going to be this one, assuming that I even pull the Bagheeras in the boxes that I get. I don't know. I don't even know how much product is in my budget at the moment. So Bagheera is the 4th one. Really, really, really good card. And the 5th card added to the Steel Fasa is another Dual Ink Amber Steel of Rhino, which is a really cute card. I talked to Lindsay a little bit, and she said that it's kind of an experimental card. We'll see how he does, if he sticks around in this deck or not. 6 cost uninkable in kind of a contested slot with this. I think this Perdita card is inspired. Brings back any 2-cost character from your discard and plays for free when you play it. So you got your Smees, your Calhouns, and your Docs if you need another hand refresh. So Perdita's inspired. Rhino gives all your characters +2 willpower, so they stick around a little bit longer. Plus his 7, he doesn't get the boost, but 7 is just a beefy character to stick around. So Quest for 2, I think it's a good addition. And then you got your classic Big Tink and Stitch for some more draw. Looks pretty good. Pretty excited about that. So yeah, let's move on to the third deck here, which is RMB from Team Maelstrom as well, is back on his blue steel, which is exciting. I think he took this deck super far in the first DLC in Atlanta and has been the pioneer of blue steel for all of Lorcana. When you think blue steel, I think most people think of RMB, the bald hero of the community. So what he's got here is looks pretty much like you would have expected it to. You got all your 1-drop items. No deck deserves 8 popsicles, honestly. 1-drop items, each of them replace themselves when you play it. You got your Maurice Workshop, your Lucky Dime for your Ariel, and Tamatoa when you have a lot of items on board. That's just a lot of instant lore if you have the ink to pop that dime. But let's look at the additions from set 7, which is this whole exercise. This Belle was the last card revealed for set 7, and she kind of took the game by storm. The whole community was up in arms about this Belle. During your turn, you may banish chosen item of yours to play this character for free. And what that means is on turn 1, she's a 3-cost card, 3/3, quest for 1 lore. You have your 1-drop items, 8 of them in the deck. You can play any of them, draw a card to replace itself, and then just banish that item and play this 3/3 Bell on 1. And essentially what you have is what Steel Song has had since set 2, in a 3-cost singer on 1 with a beefy body that's hard to deal with. I don't think there's a single card, especially you can't even say Befuddle anymore since she's a 3-cost, that can eliminate that card on turn 1. So she's coming out. She's sticking around. I may be mistaken, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But on turn 1, you got that Bell out, and then it's a lot of board control from there. What really surprised me when I looked at this is that if she's not questing, she could ramp, she could sing 1 jump. He's not singing he doesn't have 1 jump. He doesn't have any songs in here that she could sing. So I think essentially what he's doing, if I had to try to compare myself to the genius that is RMB, and his thought process here is that he's getting Bell out just to threaten the opponent's board. Like, you're going to turn your card sideways, I'm probably going to deal with it with Bell, because she's not singing anything. She's only questing or challenging, I think. And yeah, so I think that's a really good addition. She's going to be a really strong card. She's a common, so everybody's going to have access to her. I think she's going to pop into a lot of Sapphire decks, and there might even be some shenanigans in Ruby Sapphire where she has a shift cost as well for a 9-drop shift that I don't have it in front of me, but I have the sources to put it in front of me, but it's not important to this deck. But it's all item manipulation and everything, a lot of lore from your deck. And yeah, so I think you're going to see this card a lot in this next set, and very easy to obtain. The next big addition, and I think everybody's favorite reveal from this set, is this new Tamatoa, Happy as a Clam, 6-cost inkable, 4 strength, 5 willpower. And whenever you play this character, return up to 2 item cards from your discard to your hand. So everything you popped from Bell, everything you popped from Hiram here, immediately goes back to your hand for more draw from popsicles or whatever it is you've discarded. Perfect synergy of bringing those items back. If you don't have to wait till turn 8 anymore to get it from Big Tammy. So one other ability, just to make this card even better, and correct myself from the Bagheera last deck that we looked at. This is definitely the best legendary and most sought after legendary of this set. I'm Beautiful Baby. Whenever this character quests, you may play an item for free. So given the cost of Popsicle and Fortisphere, you're probably not playing those unless it's your only option. But if you have your Lucky Diamond hand, that's coming out for free and saving yourself that 7 ink that it would cost you before. It's absolutely insane that Tamatoa is going to make waves here in this next set, and I think this blue steel deck is going to utilize it very, very well. If you don't get the Tamatoa package off, working, you got your aerial for all the items that you have. If you have more than your opponent on the board, then she quests for 5. She has ward. You're gunning it to 20. I think this is a really good deck. I haven't played blue steel since the Bucky era, but it definitely has my eye and strong consideration for something, depending on what I pull, for me to build. And I think it's going to look really good. So, yeah, congratulations to RMB for bringing that back. It's certainly looking good. And let's move on to the most wackiest deck that I've seen so far, and you'll see why in just a second when I close this window. We have a 33 uninkable Emerald hyper aggro deck, which is absolutely insane. If you just look here at the top row here, you have what is this? 21 drops. Only 4 of them are inkable. So 33 is absolutely insane. Most people try to keep it 15 or lower just for the consistency of not bricking your hand. This is from Earlmeister over in the EU. Again, probably not a finished product, but some ideas there for some hyper aggro. And the whole point of this deck, it's Lady and the Tramp. There's all kinds of discarding and deck manipulation here. You got your Clarabelle package to draw up to whatever the opponent has. So you got your draw package. You can see what they have with Ursula Deceiver. You got your bodyguard here. What you're doing with this deck, though, is you're getting as many characters on the board as possible so you can play this Tramp for next to free, next to nothing. And for each character you have in play, you pay 1 less to play this character. And when you play this character, you may draw a card for each other character you have in play. So you have a wide board, you get a big draw from Tramp here. The downfall is you have to discard that number of characters as well, or that number of cards as well. But at that point, you're manipulating your hand to get your inkables, find what you need to keep moving. And when you need to reset your deck, you got your Chernabog here that your discard is going to be full of characters and everything. So that Chernabog is essentially going to be free very, very quickly. And then you're just going to get everything back in your deck and keep going. So in theory, it's really, really scary. But it could also be, it's very high risk, high reward, I think, with the hyper aggro. You got your Lady Shift here. Whenever you quest, or whenever you play this character, you may return up to 2 character cards with 2 cost or less from your discard to your hand. So more manipulation. You got your Shere Khan, 4 cost on Inkable, 4/4 with quest for 4. Discard your hand when you play him. But it's pretty exciting. This mini, I think, is the best deck for her. When we ranked our legendaries a couple episodes ago, I didn't know what deck she fit in. But I think this is the one. But I would just like to see some more Inkables. We'll see. Just a shout out to Dick Burns as well. He was the first version of this deck that I saw from the Forbidden Mountain. It had 26 Uninkables, which I thought was crazy. 33 just takes the cake. So we'll see what happens with it. I want to see it in play. I want to see it in action. If I get the cards, I'll build it, try it out. Looks like it's either very, very fun. It's definitely going to be fast. You're either going to win fast or lose fast because it's going to be frustratingly brick city probably. But yeah, that is deck 4 of the 5 we're looking at. Let's look at number 5. All right, our final deck. It wouldn't be a Brad video if we weren't talking about Blurple for a little bit. We have a set 7, day 0 Amethyst Sapphire deck from Too Many Onions on Dreamborn. I picked this one out of the smorgasbord of Blurple decks that exist on there currently because it looks most similar to the Blurple as we know it today. It looks like they took out the genies, added the Annas and Elsas that are the dual ink Amethyst Sapphire cards that I'm interested in. Heavy on the Annas, which I expected, and one of the Elsa. I was probably going to run 2, but they found probably in theory that maybe 1 is enough because we still have the 8-cost shift Elsa from set 1, the Spirit of Winter, which just does so much work. The Anna, she has support. She's a 2/3 quest for 2, and whenever you play this character, chosen opposing character can't ready at the start of your next turn. And then if you have the Elsa in play as well, she's a shift 4. And Winter Wall, whenever this character quests, you may exert chosen character. If you do, and you have a character named Anna in play, the chosen character can't ready at the start of your next turn. So essentially, with 2 card combo, you're freezing 2 characters again. And that's what the Spirit of Winter does here. I'm curious if it's all going to work out. We've had the 5th Spirit for a while. She's very good. You can tell. There is a Blurple Sven that was released as well. The 3 thematic cards that were released as dual inks with Sven, Anna, and Elsa. They have not included this Sven. It has Rush. It's a 2/6. It's basically this Elsa card without the exert, and it's not evasive. So it has this ability where you can reduce the cost by 2. I think there's a place for it in here. They'll reduce the strength of whatever you're challenging by 2 or another character. It might have a place in here. Again, this is preliminary stuff, but this is what I expected to see. Heavy on the Annas, a couple of the Elsas, only 1 in this case. But you're ramping with Tipo, you're ramping with Sail. They do have the Hideaway in here for, I'm assuming, the Manor, which is something I was running at my late Blurple deck at the end of the set. It's a great answer, cheap answer for Manor, and also the Sapphire Coil that I think is going to be troubling. We didn't see it today because I think it's going to be housed mostly in the Ruby Sapphire decks, which I don't need to talk about. Everybody else is going to be talking about or playing it. But Hideaway's a cheap answer to that item. As well, an alternative option, I think one of our local listeners, Stephen, will agree with. The 6-cost Cusco from a couple sets ago is another great answer. And it's not as cheap, but it's a body on board. You quest for 2, and it removes an item into your inkwell, or into its player's inkwell. So I like the Hideaways, given the theory that Manor and Coils are going to be overrunning the meta from the start. You got your friends, you got your Let It Go. I think it's a pretty solid Blurple deck. I'm excited to get back in the Blurple. I've been trying to play it again a little bit the last couple weeks as we've been in this lull of waiting for the new set, and it feels good, and I'm ready for some changes to it, some new exciting changes, and looks like we're on that path. So those are the 5 decks that I wanted to talk about. I hope I kept this short enough to keep your attention. I want to hear what you guys thought of these decks, what decks you're interested in playing, what decks you want to hear me talk about. We can break them down even more. This was just kind of a general overview of decks that I'm interested in. And if you don't already, please like and subscribe. We do a weekly show. It's a lot of fun. We hope you enjoy it. We get a lot of good feedback from it and from the listeners and the community, and would love to have you on board. So like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.